Hey, I'm Jared Lanham, and welcome back to Refiners Forge. So you can see by the way I'm dressed, I'm no longer in the Tucson, Arizona area. So I'm back at my home shop in Lexington, Virginia. Very glad to be back here. Excited to get back to forging and starting filling orders I've got already. But I told myself that I was going to do some shop maintenance before I got back into forging. Some stuff that's needed to be done, but I put off in the Christmas rush season and all that. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So part of that is one of the main things is fixing my fire pot. So fire pot needs some maintenance on it. So let's go take a look at that. All right, so when I made this fire pot, probably about a year ago, so I made it out of 1/4 inch plate, which most people recommend at least half. It held up pretty well, but the problem is with the heat, I didn't solidly weld it all the way to the frame. Only tack welded in a few places, and because of that, as it heated and cooled and whatever, it warped a lot and kind of started bend in. The only place it's burnt out is right here. And I don't know, that might just be because it warped in like that. So instead of making a whole new one, I think I'm going to just try to repair this. Beat it out flat, weld it solid to the frame. So we'll see. But now I need to get it out of here. All right, so now that we got the fire pot out of the forge, need to get the tweer off. And so the tweer with this bottom plate is just bolted on, so I can do this very thing. Easily detach it and do maintenance to the fire pot, or if I need to replace the whole fire pot and then still be able to put this on the new fire pot. All right, so now I'm going to see if I can hammer some of the stuff back. I actually might cut this side out and replace this side. I'm going to see if I can go ahead though and kind of hammer some of this out cold. Well, I think to more effectively hammer it, I'm going to cut it off the frame here and then see if I can hammer it better that way. So hammering this cold isn't really working. It's not moving. So I'm going to have to heat it up. So your question might be is how do we heat it up if you have a fire pot on your forge? Well, fortunately I have two forges here. They share one side draft hood, a 55-gallon drum. I'll make a video on that some other time, go a little more in depth on my forge setup. So I have a second forge on this side, and this fire pot is made out of a brake drum. I'd like to replace that, make another fire pot. So I'm going to fire up this side of the forge, and we'll use that to heat up the fire pot to get it beaten back into shape. Got some coals from the wood stove. Some fresh coal around it here. Another benefit of a side draft hood is you don't have anything up here restricting what you put in there or your sight of the piece you're working on either. Also, another benefit of a side draft or a coal forge is versus like a gas forge is I would have a really hard time getting this in a gas forge unless it was a very large gas forge. But there are definitely benefits to gas forge when you're doing production work and that kind of stuff too. So we're going to let this heat up and then we'll go to the anvil. All right, so I think that'll work. So I'm going to let this cool off, and then I'm going to cut this side out. I'll cut a new piece, weld that in. I think I'm going to shorten this frame just a little bit here and get it closer to the size of the pot here, and then I can weld it solidly around, and hopefully I won't have the warping problem again. All right, so I just purchased this titanium welder from Harbor Freight. It's one of their more, I guess, professional line welders. Read some really good reviews about it online. We'll see how it does. It's a multi-processor, does stick, TIG, and MIG. So just disclaimer, I am not a welder, especially a stick welder, so don't take anything what I'm doing here as how you should weld. All right. All right, got it all welded up. Not pretty. Could clean it up, but why? It's a fire pot. Nobody's going to see it. So it's functional. I'm going to put the tweer back on here. All right, we got it all welded up. Not pretty, but functional. Put the tweer back on. I'm really glad I got my fire pot all fixed up. Get back to forging. If you like this kind of content, please let me know in the comments, or if you have any questions, I'd be happy to help you out. Make sure you hit that like button for me. That'd be fantastic, and be absolutely awesome if you shared and subscribed. So we'll see you next time at Refiner's Forge.